Hello, everyone. This is Ben Dunn, founder of Antarctic Press, a small publishing company. Been in business since 1985, coming up to its 40th anniversary. Also, creator of Ninja High School, Warrior Nun, Tomorrow Girl, and a host of other comic book related characters. So, yesterday, I went with my daughter. We went to go see Kung Fu Panda 4. And, well, what were my impressions? They were varied. It's definitely not a movie that was made for me. I am a big fan of the Kung Fu Panda series. I did like the first one. The first one was really good, at least in my opinion. It was funny and not what I expected. It was a nice little furry comic, movie, and it was really enjoyable for the time. And then Kung Fu Panda 2 came out, which was okay. It was not bad. It certainly did held up better than the first one, I think. It was definitely a more interesting story. The villain was really, really interesting. Uh, the third one seemed to have a little drop in the way it was handling its story. It seemed less serious, a little bit more goofy. I think they were definitely trying to aim more for the kids and less to the adults. I mean, there was some really good themes in there, which I appreciated. Especially about life and death and all that kind of stuff. But Kung Fu Panda 4 seemed like a movie that really didn't need to be made. Um, I'm not saying it wasn't, visually pleasing. It seemed a little bit of a drop from the previous Kung Fu Panda movies, but it was still pretty high quality. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really see any egregious lack of animation prowess in the movie. So, uh, let me break it down what I thought of it overall the best way I can. So, what I liked about it was that it did continue with the Kung Fu Panda series in tone and feel. I think it didn't disappoint in that area. It definitely kept to the style and of the original first three movies. So I did like that. Um, Poe was definitely the main character. Poe, who was the Kung Fu Panda, definitely was Jack Black. That's one of those things that I have to give credit to is that Jack Black has really embraced the character, and he gave a pretty good performance. I wouldn't say it was outstanding, but it was definitely on par with the first three. They introduced a new character, and there's synergy between the two. Um, the character design was pleasing. It wasn't awful. You know, wasn't ugly. It was a very very cute, very nice, very merchandisable character, and it was really really good. The other characters, Poe's dads, so to speak, was actually handled pretty well. I did like the dynamic between the two, and it was quite good. Um, the villain, I mean, it was an interesting villain, but it really seemed to lack any gravitas. I mean, yeah, I just didn't really buy the fact that the main villain was any real credible threat. I just, yeah, compared to the other villains that had come before, it just didn't seem to. I mean, it was she was okay. It was a good villain. It was basically just a shape shifting chameleon. Surprise! It's in the trailer, so don't worry. I'm not spoiling anything for you. And she's trying to get all the legendary kung fu fighters from the past and absorb their power. So uh, it was those were things I thought were pretty good. No, not bad. Now there are some things I did not like or disliked or was found kind of I won't use the word problematic, but I will use the word it just didn't really sell it to me. You know, like I said, one was the villain, didn't seem all that much of a threat, to be honest. It basically, I mean, it didn't really, I mean, she was, you know, a bad guy that was part of a criminal underworld, and that she basically mistreated, you know, all the people under her. Um, and it you know, you know, not much of a threat there, to be honest. I mean, it didn't seem, you know, her plan didn't seem to be really all that much of, oh my gosh, you know, Poe's got to really stop her, you know, type thing. Two, there was a part in the movie where the the new character, gosh, I can't forget her. I forgot her name already. She, just to show how much it made an impression on me. But it's a little fox-like character. She's a, you know, used to be a criminal, you know, and now that and surprise, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but there was a scene where certain things happen, and then did a 180, you know, for no reason or explanation, really. You know, she did this action, and then almost the very next scene, she does a 180. You know, I mean, once you see it, you'll understand what I mean. Um, there, well, one of the other things I did like was a lot of this. There's a lot of good supporting characters too, as well. In fact, I found them actually more interesting than the actual main characters, to be honest. Um, the one of the things I also didn't care much for was that there really didn't seem a reason to have Poe's dad in the movie. To be honest, uh, I mean, they didn't really do much as far as the story was concerned. They just seemed to be there to basically pad out the film. And in my opinion, it didn't seem much sense to have them. I think it would have been far better to have Poe and the new character go around, you know, being developing their feelings for one another and how they could change over time. But do I like this movie overall? Well, I don't know. The other three are pretty rewatchable. I like watching them over and over again. I'm not sure about this one. I may watch it again once it comes on streaming just to see if I get a better impression of it. But overall, I'd say it's a very mid-level movie. Wasn't horrible, but it could have been great. It could have been really, really great. The idea of Poe transitioning to be beyond what he really is would have been a really good theme, the story to explore, you know, and it would have been a very interesting way to elevate the character into, you know, a much higher status. You know, as it was basically same him doing the same thing. You know, it is interesting to me that they chose a Fox character sort of to be, you know, the next in line. I would have thought it would have been more sense if he had picked another panda character. This way, they could have kept going with the Kung Fu Panda franchise. You know, it probably would have made a lot more sense if story wise. But I mean, who am I? I'm just some guy. So, do I recommend it? Well, if you are a kid, you know, because I was in a theater filled with kids and they were laughing their butts off. I mean, I will say there were some really good laugh out loud scenes, you know, and some really good lines. But and I will tell you, when the funny scenes came apart, the kids really, the audience was filled with laughter. So it definitely catered to its primary audience. In which case, you know, kudos to the makers of the film. At least they knew who their audience was and they catered to it. It's just that as for adults, you may find it a little, you know, tedious in some parts, you know. But overall, I mean, like I said, it was a very mid-level movie. I may reevaluate it if I watch it again on streaming and see if I change my mind about, The overall, because I have done that before. I've seen it in Michelle, and it's kind of, and then later on I'll watch you and says, yeah, I missed that, or yeah, that's actually pretty clever, or I liked it much better than the second time around, because sometimes that can happen. I didn't like that. I've forgotten about this, but there's a greeting in ancient China, something like this, where you do this and you bow. I think that should be a new type of greeting that we should start employing here. I think if I speak to someone and says, thank you very much, or nice to meet you, type thing. So, but anyway, those are my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4. If, like I said, if you like the Kung Fu Panda series, I think you won't be too disappointed with it. It's pretty much a paint by numbers, very predictable film. But it's pretty to look at. The animation is pretty well done overall. And if you have kids, I think they would enjoy it. So those are my thoughts. Until next time, this has been done, signing off.